The overriding reflection for me from today and from the fact we've had our global leaders in town has been that there are lots of similarities to the experience here in Australia to what's happened overseas over the last 10 years, but there are also some really important differences. And those differences, I think, are caused by the fact that the driving forces that gave rise to all of the conduct questions we've all been staring into for the last little while were different. So overseas, the significant solvency and liquidity crisis drove a whole range of focus on bank and financial services balance sheets and fundamental viability, as well as a focus on conduct and behaviour and how people were operating. And as a result of that, the response that organisations had to deal with was quite fundamental and was really dealing with what regulators were doing to them. Here, the conduct issues we're needing to face into as a result of the Royal Commission are really as a result of fundamentally a social cycle. So it's been driven by how society views banks without really any kind of financial catalyst. And as a result, I think what we're dealing with is slightly different. It's in a different environment. It's not an environment of significant financial stress. It's also 10 years or nearly 10 years after the issues that were faced overseas. And as a result, how society operates is different, expectations are different, and that social cycle has moved quite significantly so that expectations have moved in terms of financial institutions and more broadly all corporate institutions. And that has to be contemplated in how financial institutions are responding. So what? Well, I think that means, first of all, that what people are dealing with is less prescriptive. What was in the Royal Commission was not as black and white as what was applied to financial institutions through regulation overseas, which is good and bad. It means that organisations have the opportunity to self-determine still to some extent, but it also means that there have to be some pretty fundamental assessments of particularly these areas of governance, accountability and culture. I think really resonated in the sessions we've had over the last couple of days as a topic that is causing all executives to pause and particularly boards to focus very significantly on their responsibilities and how they're going to deal with it. And so that question of culture, how one goes about genuinely understanding the culture of an organisation and what it is that you can do to tangibly shift it, define where it needs to be and shift it, really seem to me to be the areas of most interest over the last few days.